association of His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, His Holiness Niranjana Maharaj, His Grace Soma, Prabhu, and all of the wonderful devotees here present by the invitation of Vamsigopal Prabhu and his good wife Kishori Radhika Devi Dasi and their two sons, Dharmik and Chaitanya. So this is a very auspicious occasion on which their lordships, Shri Shri Gora Nitai, are welcomed in their Archa Vigraha form into this Krishna conscious household. This is a wonderful opportunity for all of us to render service to their lordships, to glorify them by the chanting of the holy names, and to offer service to them with bhakti. This is the process of self-realization in this present age of Kali. Lord Chaitanya enumerated 64 aspects of bhakti in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita we can read. And among those 64, he stressed 5 in particular. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Maturavas, Sri Murtira Shadaya Sevan, Shakala Sadhana Shrestha, E Panchanga, Krishna Prema Janmai, E Panchalpashanga. So these 5 most important aspects of bhakti are the association of devotees, the chanting of the holy names, hearing the Bhagavatam, residing in a holy place, and worshipping the deity with devotion. Lord Chaitanya says that even a little performance of these 5 can awaken Krishna Prema. So these 5 aspects of bhakti in particular are the foundation of our ISKCON movement. Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, always stressed these activities. He said, I have created ISKCON to give the opportunity for persons who are interested in spiritual life to come together and get association with one another, and in this way enliven one another in the performance of Krishna consciousness. Just as businessmen gather in the stock exchange and they're asking one another, what is the price of rice? What is the price of dal? Etc. They have similar interests, therefore they gather in such places. In the same way, those who are interested in Krishna consciousness can gather in the temples and centers of our Krishna consciousness movement and engage in hearing and chanting about Krishna in the association of devotees. We have many temples throughout the world. I heard maybe 500 or so ISKCON temples and centers throughout the world. These are main temples and centers. Just like in Vrindavan, there are many big temples, temples of the Goswamis and other important temples. But we always hear there are 5,000 temples in Vrindavan. So where are the rest of those 5,000 temples? They're in the homes of the various devotees, householders that live in Vrindavan. So in the same way, ISKCON may have 500 or so main temples, but there are actually many thousands of temples in the homes of ISKCON devotees all over the world. I'm sure there are many such temples here. I know there are many in Mumbai, amongst the congregation of the Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir. So it's nice to see that yet another temple of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai is being established here today. They are very beautiful deities. Vamsi Gopal Prabhu has also brought a beautiful Singhasan from Myanmar, which is famous for its teak wood and beautiful carving. So very appropriate setting for these beautiful murtis. And this is a chance for all of us to engage in their service and to get their transcendental mercy, which is cooling like the rays of the moon. Srila Prabhupada said that when a man has been working hard during the day, particularly in a place like Mumbai, very hot, very polluted, claustrophobic kind of atmosphere, then in the night when the moon comes up and one feels the soothing effect of the moon's rays, that is very cooling and pleasing. So in the same way, our devotee householder, all devotees, brahmacharis, everyone, after working hard during the day, can come in the evening and have darshan of the deities and feel that transcendental cooling effect. Particularly when one absorbs oneself in chanting the holy names of the Lord. Among all the aspects of bhakti, and among those 5 aspects, or among the 9 aspects of bhakti, which are described by Prahlad Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, etc. The most important of all is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Lord is present, fully present in His holy names. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Nam Nama Kori Bahuda, Nija Sarva Saktis, Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarnena Kala, Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi, Durdaiva Midrishami Hajni Nanuraga. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and therefore you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda, etc. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. In his humility, Lord Chaitanya says, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. Of course, he had complete attraction for them. He was always absorbed in chanting the holy names. It is we whose attachment is weak. But by the association of serious devotees in ISKCON, by regular practice of hearing and chanting And by worship of beautiful vigrahas with devotion, then our attraction for chanting the holy names can be increased and can go on increasing indefinitely and eternally. So such a big city, Mumbai, full of materialistic persons, many engaged in sinful activities. We are very fortunate to be in this oasis of spiritual life and enthusiasm amidst serious practitioners of Krishna consciousness. So we pray to always have such opportunity, to always remain in such association, engaged in these transcendental activities. So we request all the assembled Vaishnavas present to kindly give their blessings to Sriman Vamsi Gopal Prabhu, Srimati Kishori Radhika, Devi Dasi, their children, their parents also, who are also very stalwart ISKCON Bhaktas since many years. It's a very exemplary Krishna conscious family. Mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu gave that famous instruction to the Kurma Brahmana, Jari Deka Tari Kaha Krishna Upadesh, Amaragya Guru Hao Tare Desh. So Kurma Brahmana, he was not a big sannyasi or important person in the neighborhood. He was a humble householder, but he got such famous instruction from the Lord, and by the Lord's mercy he was empowered to spread Krishna consciousness. So in the same way, all the devotees, all the householders, all the brahmacharis, everyone can take this instruction to heart and assist in the spreading of Krishna consciousness, and in this way get the full mercy of the Lord. So we thank you all very much for coming here today to make this such a wonderful transcendental occasion. May Krishna bless all of you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki, Gaur Premanandi.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane. Today is a very special and rare occasion for all of us to have the divine association of His Holiness Prabhavishnu Swami Maharaj. He was one of the very early original devotees of the UK. He was a leader within London when Srila Prabhupada first established his center there. And during Prabhupada's time in the early 70s, he was one of the first devotees to come to preach in India. He has been here ever since, preaching all over India, especially in Bangladesh, Bengal, Southeast Asia, and Russia, all over the world. His knowledge, his enthusiasm, his devotion is celebrated on the hearts of all those who know him. It is very rare and special that he has come to Bombay. And he has been pulled here by the loving devotion of his two special disciples, Bamsi Gopal Prabhu, Kishori Radhika, for this occasion today. Thank you very much, Maharaj. We also have His Holiness Niranjana Swami Maharaj, who's only here for not even one day, but it just happened to be on this day. Gornitai organized the universal creation in such a way that you would be here to lead the kirtan for their welcoming ceremony. And we have my dear God brother Soma, Prabhu. Lord Chaitanya and his associates taught us by their example how we can become perfected in Krishna consciousness. As Prabhavishnu Swami Maharaj has so beautifully explained, Lord Chaitanya emphasized 5 essential processes for devotional service. One of them is the worship of the deity. And Srila Prabhupada explains especially deity worship is recommended for grihastas. We do find by the example of Lord Chaitanya's associates how carefully prominent grihasta followers of him worship the deity in their own homes. Lord Chaitanya's father himself worshipped at Hoksha Vishnu with Sachi Mata. We read in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat how Lord Chaitanya would worship Shalagram Shila every day when he was in his Grihastha ashram. And in such ecstasy, he would weep as soon as he touched the Shila. And he would be so covered with tears, he felt he wasn't clean. So he would take a bath, come back, pick up the Shalagram Shila. His eyes would flood tears all over his body. He would take another bath. Finally, he requested Gadadhar Pandit, you please worship the deity for me, because I am too fallen. In Shantipur, at the house of Advaita, was Sri Advaita Prabhu's worshipable deities of Madan Gopal. In Panihati are the worshipable deities of Raghava Pandit, Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan. Lord Chaitanya praised the quality in which Raghava Pandit worshipped those deities with so much loving attention. Bhakti Vinod Thakur in Godramdweep, in his house, where he with his family and wife Bhagavati Devi worshipped Radha Madhava and Gaur Gadadhar. Srila Prabhupada often talks about his own father and mother worshipping Radha Govinda in their home. And of course, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we read about Ambarish Maharaj doing deity worship in his home. And then we have the sannyasi followers of Lord Chaitanya. Sanatan Goswami worshipped Madan Mohan, Rupa Goswami worshipped Radha Govinda Dev, Raghunathas Goswami worshipped Giriraj, Jiva Goswami Radha Damodar, Gopal Bhatta Goswami Radha Raman, Nityananda Prabhu worshipped Bankim Rai. So both the grihastas, the sannyasis, and brahmacharis, Narasimhananda Brahmachari, he worshipped the deity of Lord Narasimhadev. So deity worship is such a prominent part of everyone's life in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Of course, Srila Prabhupada, he told us that all we really need is the association of devotees in the holy name of Krishna. But to help us to focus in a personal way in all of our various devotional activities, deity worship is of essential value. It is a great inspiration to help us to offenselessly chant the holy name as well. Because in properly deity worship, we have to learn regulation, we have to be strict in our principles, and we can focus our consciousness on the beautiful transcendental form of the Lord. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, following the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and his associates, established deities all over the world, in temples. All of Srila Prabhupada's temples were meant to be educational centers to teach people the process of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada also envisioned that under the inspiration of the temples, millions and millions of households all over the world in their homes would be worshiping, especially Gaur Nitai. Trained under the guidance of the spiritual masters. Deity worship is exemplified in its proper way through the great souls. We worship the deity not only by performing the proper puja, but by serving the Vaishnavas, by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, by chanting the holy names, by making our home a holy place, by everything we do, everything we say, and as far as possible, all of our thoughts. Because wherever Krishna is, that is Vrindavan. When we sincerely put the deity in our home, we're making our home into Vrindavan. But offenses in the holy dham are very serious. So when you put the deity in your home, it's a serious thing. That is why Prabhupada recommended Gaur Nitai in people's homes. If we make offenses, they're not held so much against us. But if we do proper service, we get all the credit as doing it in Vrindavan. Special mercy of Gaur Nitai. But it is a serious thing. When we invite the deity in our home, we are formally declaring, my Lord, Manaso Deho Geho Bukjo Kichumor Arpi Lantu Arpading Nanda Kishore. My body, my mind, my home, my family, my wealth, my everything is yours for your satisfaction. You are the master of the house. We are all your servants. Now that is quite difficult for the male ego. Usually the man wants to think, I am the king of my home. Of course, usually the wife knows who's really in charge. But when you put deity in the house, the man has to relinquish his illusion. And the wife also has to relinquish her illusion. She's less an illusion usually. And both have to accept, and even the children, because little children think that I'm the king of the house or the queen of the house. Everyone comes together to recognize the deities are the king of the house. And through the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas, we are getting their directions. And we must follow their directions. We must make our house Vaikuntha through this process. And by doing so sincerely, on the path of bhakti, even grihastas living in a city like Bombay, which Prabhavishnu Maharaj has very eloquently described, even living in this city of Bombay, through this process of making your house Vaikuntha, by the family living together for the pleasure of the deity, we live in Vaikuntha. And grihastas, even working with occupation and everything else, have every facility to go back home, back to Godhead, in this very life. And that is for certain, if we simply are sincere. At our Radha Gopinath temple, there is a very respectful, affectionate competition between the brahmacharis and the grihastas about worshiping the deities, which is very sweet. The grihastas have their days of doing puja, the brahmacharis have their days of doing puja. And from what I have heard, some of the ladies have been secretly praying to Radha Gopinath for more service. So every now and then, Radha Gopinath send all the brahmacharis to the farm. Their own lotus feet kick them all away from the farm so that the grihastas can do all the nice deity worship in the temple. Hare Krishna. This enthusiasm is very sweet, where people are standing in line to worship the deities. So the deities in the temple are Srila Prabhupada's personal deities, and they are the first priority of both the brahmacharis, grihastas, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. But still in our homes, in order to really, genuinely keep Krishna in the center, we welcome deities in our homes and invite Vaishnavas, so that because there's nothing that pleases the deities more than seeing the family together serving the Vaishnavas. And seeing the family living harmoniously, overcoming their egoistic differences for the pleasure of the deities, chanting the holy names. It is a beautiful process that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And on this very special day, we're very, very proud of Vamsi Gopal Prabhu and his family. They're loved by everyone at Radha Gopinath Temple. They come every day, so enthusiastic to render so much service, always with nice, humble attitudes. And today is a great celebration for all of us to have the chance to participate in welcoming Gaur-Nitai into their house. So let us all offer our heartfelt prayers to Sri Sri Gaur-Nitai to accept their services, accept their lives, and shower their blessings upon them by loudly chanting. Hare Krishna.
Niranjana. So, as Maharaj mentioned, I'm only here for one day, unfortunately. But somehow I've been encouraged to participate in this event. Vamsi Gopal Prabhu called me. When was it? Oh, some days back. Sunday? and requested me to participate in this event when he heard that I was coming to Mumbai for the day. So I've accepted his kind invitation. And as Prabhavishnu Maharaj was speaking, Radhanath Maharaj also, they've been speaking about both the worship of the deity and the auspicious nature of worshipping the deity. And Prabhavishnu Maharaj was also speaking about the method of worshipping the deity. The most important method is also through the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Especially for serving Gaur Nitai, one can actually, Prabhupada said we can worship Gaur Nitai simply by kirtan. Of course, we can also worship in other ways. I think there's that verse in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna instructing Uddhava. He told him that in the worship of the deity form that one should offer all kinds of opulence, material opulence for the satisfaction of the deity. He said, but those who are very advanced, highly advanced, they can offer whatever is immediately available. He said that they can even offer mental paraphernalia within the mind, and the Lord will be satisfied by such service. So Krishna was specifically giving the criteria. The commentary, I believe in the commentary, it explains that for those who are not so advanced, the tendency is, as Maharaj was explaining, that to one thinks himself to be the lord of the household, the proprietor, and having so many possessions for his own personal enjoyment. And therefore, for a neophyte devotee to give up that spirit of enjoyment, it is necessary that he offers opulence to the deity. Because otherwise, the tendency is if it's not offered to the deity, one will use it for themselves. So, whereas those who are very advanced, they may not necessarily be required to offer great opulences. That instruction was given that the Lord can be satisfied even by mental paraphernalia. There's that story in Nectar of the Devotion about the South Indian Brahmin who was worshipping the deity, and by his meditation upon that deity form, he manifested the form within his mind, and then he began gathering water from all the different sacred places, and bringing the water to bathe the deity. And then he began decorating the deity, and then he began cooking for the deity and preparing some sweet rice. And in his meditation, while he was cooking the sweet rice, he wanted to test to see if it was still hot, and his finger was burned. So the Lord was very pleased watching this whole affair from Vaikuntha. He was very satisfied by the savor of that Brahmin. He did not have great opulence to serve the deity, but he demonstrated, because he was so advanced, that he was able to serve the deity even by his meditation, simply by making all the paraphernalia in his mind, and the Lord accepted. And he was taken back home to Vaikuntha on a flowered airplane. So, but Prabhavishnu Maharaj was also explaining that most important of all the different processes of devotional service, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And we can worship Shri Shri Gaur Nitai simply by kirtan. The other day, I was speaking to a group of students from Manipur, and we were speaking from the Madaram Madarebo Pi Mangalebhyo Pi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyo Pi Parinam Evikevalam. That prayer, 8 verses, and this described how the holy name of Lord Krishna, the holy name of Hari, is more sweet than anything else that is sweet, more auspicious, most auspicious of anything that is auspicious, the most purifying of anything that can purify. And the holy name of Sri Hari is everything. And when I was reading that, I was thinking of it was a very popular song many years ago. Maharaj sometimes remembers these lyrics. Something like, you are everything and everything is you. And how's it go? And then it's a woman singing the song. It's about a love for man. That you are everything and everything is you. And then in the beginning of the song it says, like, whenever I walk down the street and when I look and I see somebody and I see it's your face and I call out your name and I see it's not you. And then she begins to lament, you know. So, in other words, it's a love song where, for this person, all they could think of is, you are everything to me. And anything I see, you know, stimulates thoughts of you. I think it's you. Prabhupada gives the same analogy, of course, with Krishna, when he gives the example when a devotee loves Krishna. It's like a parent who loves the child, and when he hears the voice of the child, he doesn't just simply hear a voice, he sees the child. You know, the background is always his love for the child. Or if he sees the toy of the child, immediately he sees the child. He doesn't see an ordinary toy. If he sees the shoe, he sees the child. So in the same way that, just like this perverted song that we were describing of a person who's so much in love and says that you are everything to me, and everything I see is you. Immediately I think of you. So in the same way, the holy name of Sri Hari is everything for the devotee. Everything for the devotee, because whatever we're doing, whether we're worshipping the deity, whether we're associating with devotees, whether we're working, our work, our maintenance of the family members, the primary objective of everything that we do is to increase our faith in the chanting of the pure holy name of the Lord. So, therefore, by worshipping Sri Sri Gaura-Nitai, they are very merciful, very kind, because they'll purify even the most impure heart and give us the opportunity to come to the platform of chanting the holy name of the Lord completely offenselessly. Because as Maharaj was saying, they overlook our offenses. And we must be very careful, because until one can actually come to the completely offenseless stage of chanting the holy name of the Lord, then there's always the risk, by commission of offenses to the Lord, that one can actually lose his attraction for the holy name of the Lord by the commission of offenses. And therefore there are 10 offenses to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and the devotee should always be very careful to avoid them. But Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, they are very merciful. That in Navadvip Dham, that even those who are offenders are delivered by the magnanimity of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda was so merciful that even those who had personally struck him and offended him, he simply prayed to Lord Chaitanya for their deliverance. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda have very kindly appeared, have been welcomed into this home to be worshipped by these family members. And you should worship them according to your means, but most important, you should worship them by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And pray to Sri Sri Gaura-Nitai when you are chanting, to please purify the heart and clean the heart from all impure tendencies. The holy name of the Lord, as we said, is the most purifying of all purifying things. So if we are chanting Hare Krishna and worshipping Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda simultaneously by our chanting, then we have the best hope in this age of Kali Yuga for deliverance. What greater mercy, what greater auspiciousness can there be to both have the holy name of the Lord and to have the mercy of Shri Shri Gauranatai and the savor of Shri Shri Gauranatai? It's almost guaranteed that we'll be given the best opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead, to purify our lives and to, most of all, satisfy our beloved Srila Prabhupada, who has given us all of these things. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very grateful and feel very fortunate to be here amongst this association of Vaishnavas. I feel very fortunate to be able to hear from such great sadhus as these Maharajas. I really don't deserve, or I don't even, well, I guess deserve to be here, but somehow or other by Prabhupada's grace, I'm sitting here. And I'm fortunate and I'm grateful. I was listening to a tape of Srila Prabhupada a little while back, and he said, just like when I come to your country, I'm considered a foreigner. He said, so we should all consider ourselves foreigners in this material world. So I feel like that, definitely now. And I was thinking, like, when I come to your country, I don't know the language, I don't know the customs, how to get anywhere. I need to be taken care of pretty much. And it's the same way when born into this material world, don't know the language, don't know any of the customs, need to be taken care of. So we're foreigners, and our real home is the spiritual world. So now this home is Vaikuntha. Gauranatai are residing here. So this is our home. So my talk is going to be very short. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Just like my so powerful. Then, and when we say there is no hard and fast rule, why? When we, by chanting, if we don't chant properly, the result is, instead of Bhakti Lata breed, the weeds develop. Why this happens?
Why do the weeds develop?
Instead of Bhakti Lata, instead of developing devotional service, we are chanting, but the weeds are also developing. Material desires.
If there are no hard and fast rules.
Yeah, if there is no hard and fast rule.
I was listening to Radha Gopinath classes. Sanjay, wait, Maharaj, answer this one. I was listening to classes on the website while I was in Philippines. I was feeling separation from Radha Gopinath. Somebody asked this class in Bhagavatam class. Said, if there's no hard and fast rules, how is it that we have so many rules that we have to follow in order? That's not my answer, but it made me think of that. Huh? It was in Bhagavatam class in Radha Gopinath Temple just a few days back. Somebody, I don't know who it was asking Jayadvaita Maharaj a question. He said, Maharaj, why is it that if there are no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy names of the Lord, but it seems that we have so many rules that have to follow? He said, just like there's certain kirtan rules we're hearing about now for kirtans, just like there's a morning melody for Mangalartik. So why is it that, we say there are no hard and fast rules, but we see that there's so many rules? And Jayadvaita Maharaj's answer, he said, those are soft and slow rules. And that was his answer. That was it. Finished, What? I didn't hear anything else. I was waiting. Next question, Maharaj is this. Now it's perfectly clear. Okay. So anyways, I'll give a little bit more than soft and slow. Why do the anarthas develop? Well, the example is given. Lord Chaitanya, his instructions to Rupa Goswami. He talks about the Bhakti Lata beach. And he says one has to water, and while the watering process is taking place, he said that one has to be very, very careful to discriminate between the plant and the weeds. In other words, we have to be able to discriminate, to make the distinction. He said because while watering, the plant and the weeds grow, but the weeds grow faster if we're not careful. And if the weeds are growing faster, then they can choke the devotional creeper. Example sometimes I use to illustrate this. Just a very simple example. There's that verse, Shinvatasva kata Krishna punya shavana kirtana hridantisto yabudani vidinoti suhit sutam. Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's the super soul in the heart of all living beings, he cleanses desire for material enjoyment from within the heart of that person who develops the urge to hear his messages when themselves virtuously heard and chanted. So, in other words, when we develop the urge to hear and chant about Krishna, then Krishna will act from within our hearts to clean the hearts of these weeds. He'll help from within the heart. But if we're not careful, and sometimes is that just like when we're hearing about Krishna consciousness philosophy and we hear about the need to surrender, sometimes that fear of surrender develops within our heart. We become disturbed that if I have to keep on hearing about this, then Krishna may act in such a way to take these attachments that I have away from me when I'm not looking. Because Krishna's in our heart, and if I have to go on hearing, which is the cleansing process, it's going to keep on cleansing. That means Krishna from within the heart, he takes away. But if he takes away, and if we're really attached, then we're going to focus more attention on what's there in the heart than to go on hearing. Because we're afraid that he may take it away when I'm not looking. And if I'm too attached to it, I need to focus. I need to protect it. I need to put everything in its proper place so I don't lose it, inadvertently lose it by concentrating too much on Krishna. I'm using this as an example of, this is the example that we're using specifically with respect to the weeds that are there within the heart. They can choke the devotional creeper if we're not careful. And not careful means it's like if you're watering and you say, look at those weeds, they're growing faster. Maybe I should put more water on the weeds. These seem to be flourishing better than this small plant. So if we're not careful to discriminate, what is a weed? And what is that devotional plant, or the desire to please Krishna and to nurture and to water it and to encourage it to grow? Because if we encourage it to grow, eventually those weeds will be destroyed. It says that verse, Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana. Right? A rare person who's achieved unalloyed devotional service, he can uproot the weeds of sinful reactions without any possibility of them reviving. He does this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun dissipates the fog by its rays. So the sun probably gives the example. When the sun comes up in the morning, there's so much fog, but when the sun rises, it gradually burns away all the fog. It's gone. Just like sometimes we see, especially this time of year in Delhi, when you want to fly out, right? You have a flight to Mumbai. When I had a flight to Mumbai, actually, I had a early morning flight, and I was thinking, I may be sitting in the airport for hours. So I decided to leave that night before, last time I came here, so I wouldn't get stuck in Delhi. Because you have to wait many hours for that sun to dissipate the fog. So in the same way, but the sun will come up. As it comes up, then gradually the fog will be dissipated. So in the same way, by devotional service, if we cultivate devotional service, chanting the holy name, Lord, careful to avoid offenses. We have to be careful. If we're not careful, and a little inattentiveness, and the result is offenses can be committed, and we may lose our attraction, we may lose our taste for chanting. And if we lose our taste, we lose our attraction by committing offenses, what hope do we have? Of course, examples given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that even if one loses his taste by his offending the holy name of the Lord, the holy name is very merciful. Because the holy name is even more merciful, as Rupa Goswami explains in his Namastaka. He says that actually that the holy name of the Lord is, although Krishna and his holy name are non-different, there is a special characteristic about the holy name that's different than the form of Krishna. And that is, the holy name is even more merciful. If you offend the form, you have no hope to rectify except to go to the holy name and take shelter. That is how merciful the holy name is. So even if we commit offense, the holy name of the Lord is so merciful. Namaparada yuktanam naman hevadhirantagam havrishyanti prayuktani danyavarta kritani cha. The chanting of Hare Krishna is recommended for those who are committing offenses. Because if in the beginning, as we're chanting Hare Krishna, if we go on chanting, endeavoring to give up these offenses, gradually we'll become free by the power of the holy name. So we have to be careful. That's the rule. That's the rule. When it really comes down to it, that's the rule. Don't commit offenses. Otherwise, there's really no hard and fast rules. But that rule is the most important. Do not commit offenses. Lord Chaitanya raised his hands in the sky and declared it boldly that anyone, it doesn't offend any living entities, is it? In Chaitanya Bhagavat, just do not offend any living entities. And certainly he will be delivered by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So that's my tiny understanding. Is that okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna.